sure that we ask those questions in order to Roland. You're going to want to make sure you get to the point because we want to make sure that we have everybody get some time with Roland today. So try to just ask your question precisely, and then Roland can ask you if he needs more information as well. So with that being said, Bailey, what do you think should we be kicking things off?
Yeah. Roland, are you ready to go?
I am. Let's do it. Hey,
All
everybody.
right.
Welcome to the call.
All right, Bailey, who do we have first here?
All right, guys, let's get our hands raised. Let's go ahead and get in the queue. If you guys have any questions for Roland, let's go ahead and raise our Zoom hands. You can do so by the reaction button at the bottom of your screen. And I believe we have Harsh to kick off first.
Hey, Harsh. How are you doing, man? You are muted. There we go.
Sorry, 1 second. Hello, Roland.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Thank you.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm very excited. We had just signed two significant deals. We have a consult that is going to turn into equity that is basically a $75,000 a month thing for 4 months because we wanted to get to the end of the year basically, and then I think it ends up going into a 75-30-30, and then we've got another one that is a 50K that just got signed this week that is with a software company, and that is basically helping with a kind of separation of the company into a couple of parts, and then one of the parts we're going to go forward on an equity basis with. So it's fun, it's like living this stuff and helping you guys do it is just, it's my favorite thing in the world. So how can I help you today?
Well, I'd love your perspective on licensing in two different contexts. Like I've come across two different things. Perhaps the first one is business outperformance. I'm talking to someone who is looking to buy a business that is outperforming its industry.
Okay.
Apart from the acquisition, I proposed to him that a licensing play for geolocations outside the business location would be a possibility. Like I've never, just to a disclosure, I've never done any licensing deals, but
I like it though. You're using the right terms, so that's good.
are there any $0 ways of doing the licensing play, and who do I need as key partners? Because my conversations with some franchising people and licensing professionals who think in a traditional way seems to be resource and time expensive.
So does the business require capital expenditures, or is it a service business that basically you can just open and go?
It is a retail business.
Okay, so you have inventory to deal with in a retail location, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So a couple of things to consider would be, number one would be on the license itself. I mean, if you can, you prefer no upfront fee for licensing and just some sort of royalty-based thing, so that as you sell stuff, you are able to pay the licensor. The licensor, if they're smart, are going to ask for some sort of minimum guaranteed royalties. And what I would do is basically not make it a cash obligation, but basically say that you need 6 months or a year, to get started, and then minimum guaranteed royalties kick in after that period of time. It's good to make them cumulative, so you can basically just say, hey, after 6 months, if I haven't paid you this much in royalties, then I have the option to either not pay and you just get the rights back, or I can pay the minimum royalty and continue to have the rights for another, whatever the period is. So that's kind of the framework of that deal. I wouldn't pay a franchise fee. I wouldn't pay, a license fee to get started. You will probably have to buy inventory. If you can, and they have excess inventory, then perhaps you could get them to consign it to you. That would be, something you could consider. And then as far as the cost of a store, like a retail location, one of the coolest things that you can do is do store within a store or pop-up, so that you can test the idea. So maybe even before you opened a location, you could basically, you might even consider doing this. Maybe you just turn it into a consulting for equity, and you say, look, I want to help you expand. I'm going to help you expand through geocloning, into these locations. These are the ones that I've identified. Love to brainstorm with you the ones that you think would be good. We're going to do pop-up stores. And the investment to do a pop-up store is typically X. We don't know what it is yet because you'd have to check that out in the industry, in the areas you were looking at. And then I want you to provide the inventory to do that. And then I am going to receive this much for a consulting fee to help you do that on a monthly basis, plus a royalty based on sales. And then kind of turn it around so that you're helping them with their growth. You're not really a licensee. You're basically just helping them expand, but you're in for some sort of consulting as you go, and then you can turn that into equity once you have some success. That's probably how I'd frame it.
There's a small clarification perhaps on this.
Yep.
The way I'm seeing it is they perhaps have some kind of a, whether it's strategic relationships or a process or something that is helping them kind of outperform the industry. Does it make sense in the era of AI to kind of bottle that part and kind of maybe hide it behind SaaS or something and offer it to all the other businesses
I
outside of
mean,
the.
it makes sense if you have identified. I mean, I would definitely study it and see if it's something that is applicable outside of what they are doing. I think that, that's great. But if you're just talking about basically, so you're not talking about licensing retail locations to expand as much as you're talking about licensing the technology that they've got. So the same thing would really apply, though. I mean, I like it as a business growth consult more than I like it as you're going, with your hat in hand saying, please license me your stuff and let me try to expand it. I think if you're basically going in and saying, I've got a plan, here's the 3 steps. Number 1's an assessment. We're going to determine what is it that causes you to outperform. Number 2, we're going to bottle it. So we have our lightning in a bottle that we can share with other people. We're going to determine non-competitive industries or non-competitive geographies that we can expand this into. And then I'm going to deploy that. And then for that, this is what I get.
Excellent. And a follow-up along those lines, the second context is different, technologies from research labs. Some of them are, of course, not market tested, and some of them I'm finding they're actually market tested. When I've reached out to them, they seem to be wanting big money down kind of arrangement and a lot of guarantees and stuff. Is it possible for me to kind of use maybe relationships or partnerships and do some kind of a $0 down on these things? And the challenge I'm also finding on that is how do you, in fact, of all the technologies out there, which one do you narrow down would to kind of give you the maximum return on your time and other resource investments?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's the one that has the biggest and most immediate impact with the least amount of effort on revenue. That's the technology that's the best. So, if it's a new kind of coding that you can put on Windows that automatically does this, that, and the other, you can say to your window, "Hey, shades," and the window immediately goes, dark or something like that. That was one out of Stanford that we were looking at, and if it's that and it doesn't have an existing market, it hasn't been proven, and it's still got, integration into products to happen, I'd stay away because there's too much time and effort. I'd be looking more for what is an improvement that they've made on something within an industry that, already has demand and sales. And then your partner is whoever already has that, and you're effectively kind of acting as a broker between the research organization and the end user. And then it's okay if they want money up front and stuff, because it's not going to come from you, it's going to come from your partner. And then you're just in the middle to facilitate and you make your money there. So, I mean, I think that's kind of how you look at those deals. I don't like those as much though, man, because they're not ongoing, like you're tapping into profit from day one.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
What you might do, like if you like that area, is you might go find someone who does specialize in liaising between research organizations and businesses, and then see if you could acquire that, in a no money out of pocket deal, or, or work something with them to expand what they're doing. I like plugging into money that's already happening much more than starting something up.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Harsh. Ruben, good morning.
Hey, Ruben.
Hey, Roland, I'm back.
I like it. How we doing?
Doing good. I save up these questions for you every week, man, so I appreciate you.
I like it. I like it.
I'm working on a consulting for equity deal with a founder who built a solid STR consulting and acquisition business, but he's burnt out and no longer wants to run it. I
Sounds
see.
like right up our alley.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's a positive. I see opportunity to scale it, and he's open to either an acquisition or a partnership.
Okay.
The challenge is, it was profitable the last couple years. It was doing $1 million plus in revenue, about 100K SDE. Profits have declined significantly this last year due to his lack of focus. In fact, the profits are in the negative, which isn't great. So, I'm kind of debating between like an earn-out acquisition or maybe an earn-in CFE deal. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are in terms of structuring this deal, given kind of the immediate kind of lack of cash flow. He also would like some capital up front. Not sure if he's going to get it, but he would like some cash up front to pay some minimal debt and a partner that he has. This guy also has a lot of experience in M&A, so he understands structure and he's super open to earnouts and seller finance and all that. But he did mention he'd like some cash. I just don't know that there's a lot of cash in the business, and maybe I could. I'm just trying to figure out what your thoughts are, how I could potentially structure this deal.
What do you believe the runway to profitability is time-wise?
He does have a solid list and he's got a solid product. So I just don't think he's properly monetizing this list, and doesn't have, his offer isn't great. His suite of products are kind of unclear.
But just time-wise until it's profiting, what do you estimate?
Yeah, if I could monetize the list immediately, I mean, maybe within 3 months, I could, turn it around and make some money.
I mean, I think that to me, it's better as a consulting thing with an option. So I would not be offering any cash up front to a business that's not making money. And I think he would be hard pressed to get it. So if he says, no, I really need that, I'd say, well, if you can get it, get it. But then when you don't, because I don't think you will, then come back and let's chat, or I'll follow up with you in, 60 days or something like that. And then I think that you basically, are you going to be the person that's kind of orchestrating this turnaround, this comeback for it?
I am, and I'm okay with that. I'm willing to put. I know it's going to take a lot of work. And
no, I'm good too. I was asking because if that's the case, then it's reasonable for you to get paid to do that. So I think what I would do is say, look, you're not going to sell it for anything near what it could be worth or would have been worth a couple of years ago if you'd sold it in the condition it's in right now. You're going to have somebody do this. You're burnt out on it. Let me come in and make it happen. Pay me whatever it is you need to get paid to do that. I'm going to do that. I think it's about 90 days for us to get this thing to cash. My basic plan is this. I'm going to execute on that plan and make it happen. To do that, the investment's going to be whatever it is per month for that period of time. And then when I've done that, I want to have either an option to buy if that's what you want to do, or I want to go forward and, on a 50-50 split basis. Because really, I mean, it's at zero now, it's at less than zero. You turning it around, especially if he's got debt, is a giant favor to him. So it might just be, and at that time, I'll take it over and, and I'll assume the debt, or something like that. I think, I don't know enough about it, but like some shape of the deal along those lines, I think is what I'd be after.
That's what I was thinking. And I just wanted to get your kind of feedback and what your thoughts were, but I'm along the same page. A quick follow-up. I'm considering bringing on partners, actually a gentleman that I've met through Epic. And one guy's an STR industry expert, another is on the tech side. And so I'm thinking of bringing them on to help me grow this thing. And so how do you create these partnerships? How do you define equity splits with partners you're bringing in? I know you partner a lot. How do you kind of think about partnerships, bringing other people in, and how do you determine how to kind of split equity and roles and responsibilities? How do you kind of go about doing that?
It's a great question. And I only partner with people that I know have performance, that I have some sort of relationship with. I think the way that you do this is tell them, look, this is the opportunity. Figure out, what if they did everything that you are hoping that they will do, these potential partners, what would that be worth to you? And then start with them doing whatever it is they're going to do for some period of time to prove that they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. Pay them when they've accomplished the milestone, and pay them as a consultant, not as equity, and then have an equity conversation. Because right now it's just way too up in the air. It's like, hey, the way I would do it is I'd be like, hey guys, listen, I think this is an opportunity. I love what you can do, Ruben. I love what you can do, Mike. And if we all do this and all succeed, I think that we can take this thing and it'll be wildly successful. But it's all up in the air right now because I don't know what's going on with the seller. I don't know what's going on with the lack of profits. So before we argue and fight and spend money with attorneys and haggle and negotiate over equity and stuff, it's just like, if you can do what you say and you can do what you can say and I do what I say, then it's going to be good and there will be some money and we'll just split that 3 ways. But I'm not going to talk about equity because I don't know, how you guys are going to do or how the business is going to do. So let's just do this for 90 days and then we'll revisit and see where it stands and then have a conversation. And then you're dealing with known quantities and you get to see how they perform. Because it's real hard to get into a deal with somebody. And then I see it happen all the time. And it's really funny because my son's done it a couple times against my advice. And, we were talking the other day and he's like, I tell you the one thing I'm not doing in this new deal, I'm not bringing in a bunch of people and giving them equity, before I see how it's going to go. I think that's the way, because I love partnerships, but they can be a nightmare. And the best way to avoid the nightmare and know what you're getting is to, effectively date before you get married.
Yeah, I mean, you literally are reading my mind, and I appreciate that. So this is helpful. I love it. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Awesome. You're welcome. Let me know how it goes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ruben. All right, Stephen, you're up.
Hey, Stephen.
Hey, good morning, Roland. How are you?
I'm just excellent as can be. How about yourself?
Outstanding. Never better.
Nice.
Thanks for asking. Hey, I got a question for you on IP. So my AI partner and I, we do full automation systems and upgrades for companies. And we're working with a client who's doing a roll up in the medical field, and we're developing essentially an AI-driven ERP for him.
Okay.
To not only integrate into his current operation, but into the future acquisitions that he does. But he wants to fully own the IP, essentially the ERP system that we're building, which is fine. But we would like to be part of that. So curious, in your the way you think about this is in terms of a fair and equitable split or structure. How would you think about proposing that to the client?
So split, what are you going to be splitting?
The IP, essentially basically the platform that we're building that's scalable, that he can then take and roll out to 6, 8, 10 medical centers.
So if you're doing the development, I think you would continue to own the IP and you would license it for the specific application that is being done so that you could replicate and relicense at the minimum. Because he only has so many facilities, or they only have so many facilities right now. So, and they're only in, specific geolocations. So if they're doing a roll up, I would probably do it for the things that they buy, that they roll up into the program that they're doing right now as a license. And then you just have to figure out what is the contribution to value that that's going to create, which should be relatively doable. If you say basically, this is your business without ERP, this is your business with AI powered ERP. The delta between the two is X. I want 20% of X. That's an easy formula to sell. So that's probably how I would approach it. Does that sound like it might fit in this situation?
Yeah, possibly. The thing is, building the ERP is a seven-figure business, basically contract itself. So
Okay.
we want to be fair and equitable. We want to give him some ownership because he's a good guy. We're very complementary partners in terms of this, but we're just trying to figure out what the most equitable way to do this. So he has ownership of the IP as well as us, because
Sure.
we pitched the licensing initially, and
Okay.
he really wants to own it. So
Yeah, then to me, no less than 50-50. Anything you get more than 50-50 for, your way is good. If he's bringing capital, you have to think about, well, if there's capital, if we need more capital, then, let's say that you start 50-50 and you assume it's going to be $1 million to develop this thing, and then it ends up being 3 million. Then who gets diluted? Do you get diluted because it took you more time than you thought, or does he get diluted because you're still having to work and he's only paid the $1 million, and now you've got to go find out more, you've got to go find more money, more of what he was bringing for his half. So therefore, either he can put that up and continue to have the half, or he's going to get diluted. That's probably how I would be thinking about that. Say, look, I don't know. We never do. Development is always, a moving target. So we're happy to do whatever deal you're happy to do. And I'm just saying, it wouldn't be better than 50-50. Then in the event, and I would just have that conversation, in the event that we need more funding, that's going to dilute the interest that you've got, because that's, it's capital needed, and then see how that goes.
got it. So long-term 50-50 IP contractual agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a good approach. Okay.
Yeah. I still would work hard to reserve your rights in other industries and applications, if you could.
Yeah, that's one of our other concerns is that we take this technology and we're offering customized versions of it, whether within the medical industry or others. We just don't want to create any ambiguity in how this works. So, okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Awesome. Ryan, good morning. You're up.
Hey, Ryan. What's happening?
All right, thank you. I'm kind of trying to finish two things at once here. All right, thank you.
I gathered that.
Yeah, you picked up on it. Okay. Okay, two questions. One maybe can be quick, and the other is maybe a little more explanation. So first, I'm interested in I'm kind of doing ghostwriting and email marketing consulting, and kind of helping people plug leaks and that sort of thing, and getting connected with more like executive coaches and consultants and that kind of thing. But kind of had some opportunities maybe to work with some businesses, like brick and mortar businesses, and they need maybe more fractional CMO type stuff. And
Okay.
so I'm kind of thinking I'd like to offer that, where I could either do just advice and not do the work, or just do the leadership and the strategy. And obviously you can charge premium for that. So first question is just any general thoughts that come to mind quick on that as kind of transitioning. And then the second one is about international people who want to. I've worked in international business for Fortune 100 companies and purchasing all that. I know all that stuff. But as far as somebody from like Brazil who wants to partner with me to open like a construction and solar panels type thing in Florida, general advice and thoughts on that. So that's two questions. I don't know if I can ask two or if that's illegal or whatever.
No, and you're going to be banned for life from ever asking a question again, and we're about to throw you off. So sorry. No, on the international thing, that's just a giant question, but it's really not as complicated as you think. You just have to think about them as if they were a domestic partner that was coming to you and saying, we want to open another location. And then that kind of makes it feel less overwhelming. And then it's like, okay, so where do you want to open the first location? It's going to be in South Florida. Great. Okay. So what are the steps that are required to make that happen? Who's going to do each of those steps? How much of that is going to be, your legwork? Will there be any out-of-pocket costs? It generally starts with location survey, and then finding a location, and then negotiating the place that it's going to be. If it's a retailish kind of place, or if it's an office, then it's going to be that. Who's going to sign the lease? Is that going to be them? All that kind of stuff. If you're doing all of that work, it's a whole lot of work to get going. And then you've got the location, and now how plug and play is what they've got. Can they just is it machines that they bring and they drop in? Is it inventory that they provide? How are sales going to be run? Do they have SDRs that are global, that can speak to people? What's their lead generation system? How do customers happen? All of those things, you kind of have to have an idea of what's, and typically it's a RACI document. It's, responsible, acting, consultative, and informed, I think are the four: the R, the A, the C, and the I. But you would do a document that kind of lays out, these are the players, these are the actions, these are the people that are going to be involved in consulting, these are the people that are going to be involved in being informed. And then when you look at that, you'll say, for me to do this for you, I'm going to want at least this.
Yeah. Okay. That is amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah, I definitely don't want to do any of the work. I'd rather just give advice and make connections. So that that helps a lot. That I clarify that. And for the fractional leadership type stuff, I guess I don't know any general guidance on that. It would be more marketing, but I also can do general consulting for I could connect them with other vendors and that sort of stuff too. But it's probably
so the place it starts would be who has the money, right? So if the consultants that you're talking about are high ticket consultants and they've got good business flowing now, then they have the money to pay, and the automations and things that you would be bringing in. Is it kind of automations and stuff you're bringing in? Or?
Well, I guess I'm clear on what I'm doing for those. It's more of I'm creating plugging email marketing leads or new opt-in pages and that sort of thing. For the manufacturers, would be more like a fractional CMO, general marketing. They've only got sales guys. They don't have a marketing team. That's kind of where my question is. Who's
in which of those two scenarios is what you do going to create revenue for them the fastest with the least amount of effort by you?
Probably doing the plug-in email fixes and that sort of thing.
Okay. So
income would be the fraction CMO.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of what I want to do. So I've already done one. I'm stepping into others.
Okay. So if I wasn't thinking about what do you personally want to do or anything like that, to me it's always go where the money is. And so if I have something that I know already works there, what I'd probably do, if I didn't really want, so I'll try to break it down into phases, right? So all things equal, then I'm going to the consulting people because I've already got the idea of what I'm going to do. I've got proven stuff. I have pipeline for deal flow for them. It's quick to revenue. The benefit to them is quantifiable quickly. It's easy to get them to pay that. And then I can just go and replicate that again and again and again. If I want to, and actually no matter what, that to productize that service to be a managed service makes a whole lot of sense to me, that you're going to basically say, this is the program for doing that. And then just go either hire somebody or get a partner that does that, and then go do the manufacturing thing after you've got that dialed in. And then the CMO for the manufacturing thing sounds great, as long as you can get a commitment from them, to do it for a period of time to give you the ability to get it dialed in. Because going in and helping them with all the things they haven't got when they're not used to marketing, and it's really funny. I've gone in multiple times to companies that have great sales, they've got sales teams, SDRs, AEs, the whole deal, and zero marketing. And there's all this leakage that's falling out because, the salespeople call a lead one time and then they're like, hey, they didn't buy, give me more leads. But who's nurturing all the leads and stuff, and there's millions of dollars that's sitting there in companies. So, but it is more work for you, diagnostically, assessment, get up to speed wise with each of those to figure that out, than it is to just basically say, here's your lead system, let's go. So I think that's a good place to be, but it's harder and a little bit more squeeze for the juice than the first thing. So, I don't think that there's any reason you can't do both, but I would prioritize systematizing, automating, and partnering or hiring somebody to run the first division first. And then as soon as that's dialed in, go for the other thing.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. I think I've kind of got a couple of revenue opportunities, so I've got a couple going on one. The other one, if there's one in front of me, I'll jump on it, see how it goes, and then if not, I'll just keep doubling down on the other
And
one.
maybe bring an intern or a new hire on to basically shadow you and look over your shoulder as you're doing the couple that are in that one area, and then be creating Loom videos that you then feed to ChatGPT and tell it to SOPize, to standard operating procedurize the things that you did, so that you can basically hand that off. And then if you had somebody that was kind of looking over your shoulder, or just record what you're doing so that you got that systematized, and then that just becomes a division of your business, and you don't have to choose between one or the other.
Awesome. Thank you, Roland.
Yep, you're welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Michael, how can we help you?
Hey, Michael.
Hey Roland, how's it going?
All things are wonderful. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. It's quite late here, so just give me a second. I just wanted to be able to find out a couple of things.
All right, ask
Basically,
away.
I'm as recent a joiner as less than a year, and so I just wanted to be able to just kind of find out next practical steps. Obviously, I know that you've got a lot going on, but since I've got you here, I'm going to take full advantage of it.
All right, let's do it.
And
Oh, you froze on us. Bailey, I think we probably have to go to a different question.
Sounds good. Michael, we'll get you back up here if you want to raise your hand again. Boone, let's move over to you.
And maybe if he doesn't get back up, we can have a coach reach out to him and give him and help him kind of get some direction too.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Hey,
Hey,
Boone.
Roland.
Hey,
Got a question here, and if it's, I don't know if it is on topic or not, but it fits within the consulting for equity. But I
yeah,
kind of
all right, let's ask.
flip a little bit, so it's a little bit, I think, unusual. So I set up a AI venture lab. So it's set up so that people can invest in it. So what I do is when I go out to say consult for someone, they want to build something, they don't know who to go to for that. Instead of me taking equity in them, which I can do, but there's a lot of due diligence that can happen because they don't know tech, they have this idea, they want someone to come in and help them,
Yep.
and then they can either pay and give you equity. So what I did was I said, to make it easier for you, instead of you paying me and give me equity and all of that, which is there's still a lot of due diligence and friction to go through, you can invest in my AI lab, right? And I would take the investment, you get equity obviously from that AI lab, but then I would then take the fund that you put into AI lab and fund your project,
Mm-hmm.
and then take equity in your project as well. So
Okay.
it's like two ways.
Okay.
Two ways because I feel like if something goes wrong, let's just say I disappear, whatever. I mean, I won't disappear. Let's say I do a bad job. You still have the AI lab equity in there, so it protects you. But then, of course, that won't happen in my head. Of course, it's gonna work out, but it de-risks them because it's not just the money that they give to someone and equity, and if things don't go well, they kind of screwed on both ends. But so I just want to get your take on this model because it's this model that I'm testing out right now, but it seems to move things relatively quickly because they are getting equity in the AI venture lab that I set up, but
Uh-huh.
I'm also getting equity in them because I'm using the fund that they put in to fund the other thing to get equity in exchange. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I think it's interesting that if it's working, I think it's great. The only thing I'd say is just be sure that you're compliant with the securities laws because you're selling an investment, so you just want to be sure that you've got an offering document and everything is done properly there. But other than that, I mean, it sounds I like it. It's very creative.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, Boone. All right, Michael, you want to try again?
yes, please.
All right, Michael.
So I just to go again, I'm in the UAE, specifically in Dubai, and I was just trying to figure out next practical steps to kind of move forward because I feel kind of stuck in the process of having chats with lots of hundreds, literally a few hundred business owners, specifically in service-based industries, and everybody's kind of singing the same song of we need cash up front. And I've tried to kind of structure the deal accordingly to be able to give everything but cash up front, especially for companies that are asking for a lot more, and everybody's quite exuberant naturally. And so maybe you could give me either people I can talk to here or contacts perhaps, or just ways I can be able to find the next forward step in being able to reach out to either a different set of sellers or a way of telling something that's completely different but the same thing.
Yeah. Well, first, I think it's important to be sure that you're clear on no money down versus no money out of pocket, because there are most of the deals that we do, there is cash up front. It's just not coming from our pocket. So
Correct.
so if you're proposing, let me get in and not give you anything, and
No, I did mean no money out of pocket.
Okay, great. So then give me an example of a deal that had a motivated seller, and then let's talk about what the challenge was.
Right. So out of the top of my head, I had a seller who was in his 60s, almost 70s, and he's selling because he wants to move out of the country, which happens a lot in the UAE because they don't give the passports in terms of citizenship. And so a lot of the business owners here either come to invest, they get a fractional or a temporary visa. That's a 2-year visa, give or take, so an investor's visa. And then most of the time when they get to about 60, 70 years old, they want to move back home, or they want to move to some part of the world that involves a better way of living for their retirement.
Yep.
And so a lot of the business owners here are relatively between the ages of 28 to about 45. And so I've been reaching out to a lot of people who are looking to leave that market. It just makes it much more easy in that respect.
Okay.
And so they were looking to be able to sell a service-based industry specifically for cleaning that is both commercial and residential. And so what they were trying to do was sell it for about 500,000. It was way above because the estimate was about 300,000, and they had required the money up front, and they just wouldn't budge in terms of whether I would get suppliers to be able to upfront cost, or we could be able to use the cash in the bank. They just didn't want to. They wanted to sell it, and they wanted to take the cash in the bank with them.
Yeah, and they weren't. Well, I mean, everybody wants that. The question is how motivated they are, right? And so that's kind of what I'm after. Is if it's just basically I want to sell my business for cash, and they've just listed it for sale. I mean, my guess is that if you've talked to a couple hundred people, that if you went back through that list, you would find several that have not been able to get what they want, who become much, much more flexible. So that's definitely something that I would do. Are there any programs there that are like the SBA here in the States that basically provide any kind of government guaranteed or government backed or based loans to help people buy businesses like that?
So yes, there are. However, they are only exclusively for citizens of the UAE, not for expats.
Okay.
And so what it is, I did have a chat with a few banks and just kind of ask what they would be able to do, if anything at all, to be able to provide any version of cash upfront for a business that's profitable. And not much would come out of that conversation in the less where they would ask for personal guarantees. So whether you've got an apartment and such, and obviously it's not what we are trying to do in terms of putting any personal guarantees down.
Yeah. What about revenue-based financing? Did you look into that?
According to, probably not perhaps the way as exhaustively as you might explain it, but I did ask into getting the people who are sellers to basically use the cash in the bank to be able to finance it. But then they are leaving the country, so perhaps also that's a factor. They don't particularly think because they're not in the country anymore, they won't get their funds, or
I'm talking about third-party lenders that are revenue-based financiers in particular. So if you've got you have a business that has consistently generated revenue for several years, then revenue-based financing is a type of financing that is typically available to those businesses because they have consistent revenues. And then the people that make those loans, they're institutional investors, basically. The people that make those loans And the companies that make those loans get paid back from a percentage of revenue over 12 to 24 months. So that would be
Right.
one of the things that I would look at. But I would just kind of go through the list. Ultimately, if you don't have somebody that's motivated, though, I mean, like if everybody there is paying 100% cash for businesses to everybody that wants to leave, so that there is nobody that's not able to sell their business, then it's just not a fit there. I don't believe that that's the case. I believe that there's lots of businesses that have a hard time selling, and you just have to get somebody, you have to talk to enough people to find someone who's motivated. And at that point, you run through all of the different things that we've got, and if there are no assets and there's nothing else, no inventory, no suppliers. I mean, if it's a cleaning business, did you talk to any of the suppliers that he's buying from about the possibility of better terms or anything like that?
Yeah, so I did speak to a few of them, which so happens coincidentally that one major supplier supplies a lot of the cleaning companies here, not
Right.
just cleaning, but more service-based, like other companies that do laundry and such. So they are a major league supplier for a lot of them. I did have a chat with one of their VPs, and they did say there's a way to structure. They just didn't think that that was a particular company for the fit.
Okay. Well, so why don't you, because this is something that we've had a lot of success with, why don't you talk to that supplier and say, that person you talk to and say, listen, I'm looking to acquire a company. I'm looking for somebody that's motivated. You supply all these people. How about you refer me somebody, and when I close the deal, I'll pay you $5,000, right? Give them an incentive to use their inside connection to help you find deals to do. And then obviously I'll continue to buy from you as a supplier, and you'll get money, and I'm up for buying a few of these, and otherwise maybe they're just going to go out of business when they leave the country and can't sell. So help me find those people, and then let's talk about what would the business that a structure like that would make sense to you. What would that business look like? And then refer me that business, and let's go buy it.
Okay. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. But I mean,
in terms of
it is a numbers game for sure, but the key is motivated seller.
Yeah. In terms of contacts that I would be able to perhaps, I've tried to reach out to a few people who used to be actually in the UAE and are still in the program. Most of them have left as well. I'm just curious if you personally also might have somebody we could be able to reach out to that might make not necessarily the work easier, but just a way of just getting a bit more knowledge in terms of respect of what we're doing.
I mean, have you talked to any of the coaches about like specific deals that you're working on?
Yes, we've had a couple of calls on deal reviews, yes.
Yeah. Chat with Bailey, and then we'll see what we can do to get you connected with the right people.
Yeah,
Sure,
I can
sounds
also
amazing.
Roland, if you need my help there.
That'd be great, Deanna. Well, then if you can talk with Deanna, because Deanna's doing deals specifically, I think she would be a good person to talk to and can help a whole lot.
Deanna, I will be in touch as soon as possible.
No worries.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much, Roland.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Michael. Jack, how can we help?
Hey, Jack.
Sorry, guys. Good morning. So, all right. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm new, but I'm still setting everything up where like CRM and trying to make sure that my follow-up is where it needs to be, and capturing everything so that I'm doing the right things and I'm setting the right foundation.
Yep.
One of the things I'm figuring out though is when it comes to figuring out which business I want to buy is that I'm finding businesses that have a wide range of income, and they could be within the same segment of or same market segment. And I was just wondering if there was a trick or an idea that you had around, let's just pick something crazy, like maybe a survey company. Is there a particular way to try and weed out the people that maybe say are $1 million below? Is there some advice that you have for trying to maybe identify whether the segment that you're looking at is worth pursuing? In other words, the revenues are up, and we're not trying to look for the pink elephant in a place that it doesn't exist.
I mean, you could look at industry averages for what do businesses that are in that industry typically earn. Like if you're looking at laundromats or car washes, they're probably significantly under 1 million, most of them. But if you're looking at manufacturing companies, you're probably looking at most of them that are well over. So I think you could just look at general industry statistics and say, where is there a larger concentration of companies that are hitting the revenue levels that you want? And then use that as your guide, because then you're at least in a more target rich environment. You can pay money to get lists that are segmented by revenue. So like if you want to buy lists, you can do that. There's a lot of companies from Data Axle to Zoom Info, all those guys have that data. Dun & Bradstreet, and that would be another way to do it. But generally, I find that like if I'm shooting out a broad message and my criteria, as long as there are, a reasonable number of qualified people or businesses in that list, it's fine, because you never know what might happen down, in some of the smaller ones. But, it's a quick conversation too. Now, you could also, in your outreach, you can qualify them really quickly on an automated basis to have them fill out a little survey and just say, hey, I'm interested in talking. What is the thing of value you're offering to them? I'll give you a valuation. I'll give you a quick exit consult. I'll give you a growth consult. Any of those kinds of things, and then they fill out something to get that. And then when they fill it out to see if they qualify, then you can take the ones that don't and send them someplace else, and take the ones that do and start having conversations with them. That's how most people do it.
Great. Okay, that saves a lot of time. That makes it a lot more efficient, I think. So
it does.
Thanks for that feedback.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. I believe our last question of the day is Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again, Roland, everybody else.
Nice to see you.
Okay, good. The situation I'm in, and this is just a quick, I'm trying to see as much as I can do it. I am a tech guy. I know software and all of this. I'm also an investor, and I've been doing for the last 50 years business between Saudi Arabia, Egypt, as well as United States.
Okay.
My worry right now, I'm bringing startup companies to expand over there. I mean, mainly Saudi Arabia. And my worry is because they are startup, it's all SaaS, it's software and whatever.
Yeah.
My worry, there is dependency on this engine, this what they have. What if the company goes out of business of some? I'm worried. I have dependency, I have services and commitment. So I was wondering I know in the old days you put things in escrow, but I don't know what's today. How I can protect myself? Of course, I can redo it. I can clone it, but it will be another major effort. But anyway, I'm trying to see this dependency. It worries me because there is dependency.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's a source code escrow, so that there's a third-party escrow company that holds the source code. It gets updated as any updates happen, and then if a triggering event happens like you're concerned about, then they will release the source code to you, and you have the ability to go forward. That's the most common way of dealing with that.
Good. So are there specialized escrow to take care of this kind of?
Correct.
Can you name one or two or so?
You're looking for one that's going to be located in Saudi Arabia, or you?
In the USA. I am in USA myself. I'm in Los Angeles. So
get your information to Bailey or Deanna, and we'll get you a couple of references.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Roland.
Yeah, you're welcome. 100%.
Okay.
Awesome. I believe that tees us off for the day. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Roland, thank you so much.
Well, great questions, guys. I love that you're doing deals. I love that people like Ruben and all keep coming back again and again and again with new evolutions, and keep working at it. And we're here to help, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Awesome.
Really quickly, though, if you guys still are planning on coming to San Diego, it is not too late to join us next week. So we have a couple spots open. We would love for you to be there. It will be next Monday and Tuesday for our ENL Epic Network live event. So if you would like to be there and like to have a seat there, please let myself or Bailey know. We are looking forward to coming to sunny San Diego. So we hope
have
to see
some
you there.
really, really fun surprises happening there too. That's going to be kind of exciting. So if you can make it, definitely do.
Yes. All right, everyone, have a great week. We look forward to seeing you on your deal review calls. I'll be talking to some of you today. Reach out to Bailey if you want to get a seat to San Diego, and y'all go close some deals.
See you guys.